This commentary on Lesson 35 in the Workbook of A Course in Miracles. My mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Today's idea does not describe the way you see yourself now. It does, however, describe what vision will show you. It's difficult for anyone who thinks he's in this world to believe this of himself, yet the reason he thinks he's in this world is because he does not believe it. So the basic idea in here is continuing in the process that the world that we perceive is a function of our inner world. And now we're taking that inner world and all of its thoughts and breaking it down to a thought about who we are. That's where everything starts. And that thought of who we are is a sum total of all the descriptive terms in how we see ourselves. So it's these descriptive terms of a self that we're working towards attaining through vision, which will show us who we are, part of God, and an attribute of ourselves, holiness. Okay, so you will believe that you're part of where you think you are. That is because you surround yourself with the environment you want, and you want it to protect the image of yourself that you've made. All right, so this talks about the defensive strategy from our original mistake of who we are. The pain, the guilt, the fear that came from that is that we project out a world. That's how the world happened. And all of the properties of that world, all of the things of it, is just to protect this image of ourselves. And we let that world define us. It's all of those things other than this act in the mind that just made up this image. So that's why we have the environment that we think we do, is to protect this image of ourselves. So the image is part of this environment. What you see while you believe you're in it is seen through the eyes of the image. This is not vision. Images can't see. Okay. So there's this image in our mind of who we think we are, and everything comes from that. If we change that concept of self, we'll change everything else. So the idea for today presents a very different view of yourself by establishing your source, which is God, love, truth. It establishes your identity, and it describes you as you must really be in truth. And we use a somewhat different kind of application for today's idea because the emphasis for today is on the perceiver, us, rather than on what we perceive. So for each of the 3 5-minute practice periods today, repeat the idea to yourself and close your eyes and search your mind for various kinds of descriptive terms in which you see yourself. Include all the ego-based attributes which you ascribe to yourself, positive or negative, desirable or undesirable, grandiose or debased. And so from the standpoint of this practice, they're all the same. They come from this one image. And it's because we're not seeing ourselves through vision or through the eyes of holiness. All right, so in the earlier part of the mind, it says that you're going to look at more negative aspects of yourself, but that also more inflating things will come, that we use all of them, all of these descriptive terms, whatever they are, we use all of them and we apply the idea to all of them. So illusions are having equality in that it's an illusion. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Since an illusion, it's equal. It's the same. They're just merely not true. So it gives us a suggested list. I see myself as imposed on. I see myself as depressed, as failing, endangered, helpless. Now this is some of the more positive ones: victorious, charitable, virtuous, all of these. So the Course says the mind is naturally abstract, but we've made concreteness. So that's what we have to work with. So all of these descriptive terms of yourself are going to occur in very concrete things, in the very situation we see ourselves in, with the very people and the actual circumstances of those situations and events. So shouldn't we find something to look at? It's the movie that's going on within ourselves. So we pick up any specific situation that occurs, and then we identify the descriptive term or terms you feel are applicable to your reactions to that situation, and then you use them in the idea for today. And after you've found each descriptive term, we apply this idea, but my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Okay, so we're challenging this image of ourselves by applying what we're learning in the course. Our truer self. That my mind is part of God's. That's what I am. I'm part of that love, that one reality. I'm very holy. That's the real descriptive term of who we are. And notice at the beginning of the lessons, it's hard to believe this, but it's because we've invented this environment, this world, to hide this image that we're trying to protect of ourselves. That's anything but holy. So during the longer exercise periods, there's going to be time when maybe nothing occurs. We don't strain to pick it up or dig it out. This is really important because we're trying to hone this quiet, peaceful part of our minds. And the process here that the Course is using is that when we start asserting the truth about ourselves, I'm part of God, my mind is part of God's, I'm holy, then the ego is challenged by that, and it will ramp up its efforts to, establish its image of itself. So we don't need to dig for it. They'll automatically come up if we're just calmly asserting this truth about ourselves. So it's important to have this relaxed idea and let the actual things that are operating in the moment that are defining us, let them come up. Okay, they will come up because they're there and we're using them, but we're unaware of it. So neither force nor discrimination should be used. And then this is a practice during the day as often as possible. Take those situations, take our vision of ourselves, our image of ourselves, and the attributes that we see describing ourselves, and we practice the idea. And we take the idea for the day and apply it to that. So I see myself as endangered. I see myself as being controlled, but my mind is part of God. I'm very holy. So, and if nothing occurs when we decide to do a practice here, we just merely repeat the idea to ourselves with eyes closed. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.